We have arrived at number symbolism video and number video of my channel 4774. That number verse in the scripture of this age is Wanahuarambu Shiara. And that God is the Lord Osiris. It is Lucaria, as I say this, a holiday dedicated to Cyrus, a Roman holiday, by the way, a Luciferian holiday, if you want to be a bit more specific. So I guess it came out to a very good day that this video was shot. I mean, at least symbolically. Now, not doing or not doing something because of some that you should be doing because of, or that is good because of some symbolic arrangement not quite being in its perfect position is not really something that I would recommend, but some basic meanings are, well, I mean, you can come up with other ones too, but power becomes futile as decadence approaches completion. The masculine survives as a lover of the feminine. The power of relationships is in their terms and what they nurture. East or south, and east above with east below and south above are northeast. There is a system of government beyond the roles and kindred natures. South or east and northeast, with east or south, with northwest, merge with above and south, above, with south or east and west below. Complete debauchery is futility's power. And without going into the Aramea, we have Exodus 19:16. And some of these have variations. I'm referring to one in particular. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that were in the camp trembled. And you can pick apart any particular element of that to come up with your own symbolic message to expound upon it. You can look at the context. Leviticus 15:24. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean. Numbers 19:5. And one shall burn the heifer in his sight, her skin, and her flesh, and her blood, with her dung shall be burnt. Well, shall he burn? Yeah, all this stuff in the Bible where they have to burn corpses and all this stuff as part of the ritual, it kind of but yeah, wasting the flesh, shouldn't the flesh be used to feed people? So 2 Chronicles 21:20. "32 years old was he when he began to reign, And he reigned in Jerusalem 8 years, and departed without being desired. Howbeit, they buried him in the city of David, but not in the sepulchres of the kings. Now, perhaps that's because he didn't want to. He didn't want some elaborate burial. He wanted a common, simple burial where it's like what they did to the grave of Muhammad is certainly not supported by him. Everybody, the biggest gravestone diagonal across the hand, no grave goods, and what they have silver and gold gilded doors over his grave and monuments over his grave. They made his grave be in his wife's house. They made his wife, so his wife had to divide off part of the house because they, well, not everybody was involved in this, but certain people who were the rulers after, not the prophet's cousin, but 2 Chronicles 36:14. Moreover, all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen, and polluted the house of the Lord, which he hath hallowed in Jerusalem. Now, the word Lord here, it's not there in Aramea. Yahweh does not translate as Lord in any, literal sense. Okay, God is the Lord, okay, but, but it's increasing existence, established, God is a noun and a verb, but not anything like that. Dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. How many times have we said this here? Dollar bill, y'all. 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 It's like 7 times or something like that. Florida Panhandle, September 11th, 2012. Some of these dates will have particular importance to somebody if enough people see it. And that's one of the tricks when you're dealing with somebody who's going to actually use this information and say, oh, I can tell the future. I can tell something secret about you. And they'll come up with something vague. They'll come up with something that applies to enough people. TV preachers pull the same thing. So I'm showing you that you can choose your symbolism, just like they can choose what they're trying to say to express meaning. Friendship with God is reserved for those who reverence him. Nobody will fall where the artificial intelligence loves anybody story. Well, people fall for it. And perhaps since we're missing words that we put in English to make it a better sentence, O Jehovah, you are my God. I exalt you. I laud your name. Now, there's no J's. Any of the biblical names. You throw in the Apocrypha too while you're at it. The biblical names don't have the J. So think about that one. Zeus defends average Catholics and Jews, but does not care if he offends them. Now, Zeus, just like Yahweh, people personify, and the term Zeus doesn't really necessarily fall under those gentrification and other personifications. July 21st, 2018. This world has been created using electromagnetic frequencies and what is and Hert is sending the all. Why couldn't the doctors do that for me when I was born? Oh, that last saying ends in ADHD. What a cant. This world has been created using electromagnetic frequencies, and Hurt is sending the all ADHD. What a cant. So again, something else. What could the doctors do that for me when I was born? Parasites return to your own nature or suffer turning to dust. Was shackled. Oh, I was shackled, but when women ruled the world, they formed children. People talk about getting rid of the patriarchy, but when was there ever a matriarchy? A couple tribes that sort of failed, and that didn't, partially because it wasn't really the best thing for the women. There's a difference between misogyny and patriarchy. And as I pointed out elsewhere, that in theocracy, women aren't treated wrong. So I bet you wouldn't talk to that other person that same way. Well, we have to talk to people differently. So if you like one category of the content in my material of my page, okay. If you don't have to like it all, I encourage you to stay and benefit from whatever type of video that you do benefit from, even though you don't, oh, I don't like that he does this sort of thing. It's like, okay. But perhaps it's just because you don't know about that sort of thing. And if you paid attention to it, maybe it would clear up some misconceptions and animosity towards people that you wouldn't have animosity towards. Americans are sick and tired of hearing about damn Jews in Israel every day. Yeah, a lot of people have that sentiment. And it's not so much about Jews as far as religion. There's almost never any news about Jews as far as religion other than, oh, well, it's Hanukkah or something. Which really is the holiday that founded historical Judaism, but that's another point. I mean, that's for another video and other. Clearly, they need an example for what is coming to them since they ignored the signs for on April. Now, in April, Ramadan started. So, any of these verses of Al-Quran, the 6,000 something, I don't remember the number, we could refer to any of that. We could say something about April in general. Yes, you, Gematrix aliens, you excel. We're not spelling the word, we're just having the letter U. And you excel and are advanced and rural, but yeah, just a Y. Do you D-U-E, no, not the D-O. You suffer behind all this. Serious holographic zebra. Striped breakdown. Liquid crystal polarization. Fascism boxes you in so the devils can spiritually prey on you. Nowadays, a lot of people are trying to pretend that being, they use buzzwords. And in their seeking to feel oppressed and to feel offended, they go out and they censor people and they want to make everybody the same. Now, if people differ in opinions and they're not slandering or abusing people, let people say what they say. People will differ with a lot of what my channel has to say, because I really talk about a lot, for one. But if they don't believe or do the same things that are mentioned in any particular video, that's fine for them. Um, and I'm not. I'm going to leave their comment up. I don't believe this. I don't do this. Um, they'll say it's wrong. Whatever. I'm welcome for those comments. Corrupt, monster-free police are mad monsters that back them. They are dropping like flies. These cops use has Abaddon marked E tree. You know, when people come up with conspiracy theories and they don't really know, they're just making up something, it can get kind of. It was holding together there at the beginning, but it kind of got lost at the end there. Generally, cops are good. There are corrupt police, and bringing back the level of accountability that some departments used to have before. Anyways, to not get so political, but police need to be held just as accountable. Their testimony should not count any more than anybody else. It doesn't put for a fair trial. It's not right that people will count a policeman's testimony against another person, and that leads to abuse, and it leads to innocent people being locked up. In a theocracy, even the head of state doesn't have a higher level of testimony. One must know when one is defeated. All I can do right now is pray. Please, 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 God Almighty, put a stop to all the mind control surrounding death, disease, and destruction. Then influence others yourself. Influence others yourself. And aside from that too, work on maintaining your mind and building up a greater control of your mind. But yeah, turn to whatever you worship in as part of that process. Ever you knows that Sunny one end counts and Cunny doesn't. Another 1 and 2. Political leaders creating fear and pain in the world's citizens through war tactics. Winter solstice, 2012. Those who claim everything is light are serpents seeing in thermal vision. Now, everything we feeling, hearing, we're all seeing. We're all looking at vibration. We're all interpreting through vibrations. And all vibrations can be interpreted in terms of light and sound. So let's be realistic about that. And the sage directs the oracle instead of just consulting it. So we're, instead of certain things that people like in the Bible, if I pulled out the Bible, would say, oh no, divination. It's like, well, it's not that type of divination now, is it? But to bring a spiritual process into your into your thinking process,